Nobody is hated more than he who speaks the truth. This is the famous quote that I recently came across, and it quite surprisingly reminded me of a narcissist's incapability to face their reality. For reality is nothing but an aggression for them, and whosoever points out how they are living in an illusion becomes an attacker. And then what does the narcissist do? They try to destroy them for being a truth teller. This is what happened to me in my own family. I was targeted by both of my parents and all their enablers because I chose to speak the truth. Let's talk about it further in today's episode. I am Danish, a psychologist and a narcissistic abuse recovery professional. In today's episode, we are going to thoroughly cover the topic, what a narcissist does to a truth teller. If that sounds interesting and you're eager to learn more, please make sure to subscribe before we get started, because your subscription to the channel helps in spreading awareness about narcissistic abuse. A narcissist's biggest enemy is a truth teller, somebody who calls things for what they are. If they see a narcissist abusing people, manipulating, gaslighting, belittling, dehumanizing, putting people down, or doing something wrong, they will call them out on their behavior. They may not label it as the thing it's called, but they will point out their hypocrisy. In other words, they will force a narcissist to see their reality, which is what burns them inside out. Why? Because a narcissist does not want anybody to call them out on their behavior. They want to be enabled. They want everybody to agree with them. They want you to fall before their control. Their dominion should be established, and you should be a part of their false ego. You cannot have a separate individual self that can see too much, that can feel too much. You are supposed to surrender, and when that does not happen with you as a truth teller, you really bother them. And that is one of the reasons why you become a scapegoat in a narcissistic family cult. That's what turns you into a black sheep, because you're not willing to just go on and play that mind game. Your dominant survival response is fight response, and you fight tooth and nail to have justice served, which unfortunately in a lot of scenarios lands you in more trouble, especially in situations where you do not have power. I'm talking about a narcissistic family cult. You are a child to a narcissistic parent, or you have a lot of narcissists surrounding you and you are the only black sheep. You're the only person who is not comfortable with their lies, who is not fawning, who is not giving in, who does not want to stay silent, who wants to call out things, who wants to rebel for right reasons. And that attracts their negative attention, which is why you become their eternal enemy. When you become a narcissist's eternal enemy by being a truth teller, they do many things. They begin with first attacking you directly, by pushing your points, by guilt-tripping you, by making you feel like you're doing a horrible thing by going against your family, or by speaking against your partner, or whosoever the narcissist is in your life. They will make you feel a lot of fear as well, the fear of being abandoned, being shunned, being estranged from this core unit that you come from. They will do many things to stop you in your ways. If that does not work, then they use a lot of smear campaigning. This type of a smear campaign that an enraged narcissist runs is slightly different than all other smear campaigns. Why? Because when they are in full-on rage mode, they can go to the extent of dropping your name off from their will, or destroying your relationships with all your siblings if they have the power to do so, or other relatives. They may even take a legal step, a legal action against you if they can, and they can falsely do so, but they will if they can. There's no if I should. They might file a complaint against you. I mean, you just have to think it, and they will do it when they have to bury you, when they have to stop you from speaking the truth. Unfortunately, in some circumstances, I have seen a lot of truth tellers running away from their home states, leaving their countries. I have seen and met people who had to leave everything behind for their life because it was in danger. They had to just destroy everything to recreate it somewhere else. That is what happens to a truth teller. I know it's worth it, but at what expense? At the expense of your career, your business, your money, your relationships, and so on. I'm saying it just to acknowledge your pain, just to validate you, just to let you know that yes, it was a great thing, you must leave, but there is grief in leaving. There is pain in leaving, there is loss in leaving, and most importantly, there is betrayal in leaving. There is so much betrayal. What betrayal am I talking about? Well, when a narcissist or when a narcissist family unit starts attacking a truth teller, a black sheep, a scapegoat, they destroy their relationships. They destroy their financial stability. They destroy their career. They destroy everything they had worked so hard to build. Unfortunately, they also destroy the chances of them living in their own country, flourishing where they were born. Sometimes you don't want to do that, but in a lot of cases, that's what you desire. And you have to leave everything behind when they just get to live their life the way they have been living it. That is injustice, and that is the betrayal that I'm talking about. Betrayal by your own partner, your parents, your siblings, your friends, your relatives leaves you with a moral wound, something that makes it extremely difficult for you to trust people again, which is why I invite you to join my workshop on how to overcome betrayal trauma in 5 practical steps. In this workshop, I'll help you understand how a narcissist betrays you beyond infidelity and how that multifaceted betrayal impacts your overall well-being. Then I'll give you the tools to heal yourself so that you can build a deep bond with your authentic self, build that trust with what you call self and then with others. If you're interested in booking your spot at an early bird price, which is reserved for only first 100 participants, click the I button above or the link in the description of this episode. For the initial years of my life, I did not play the role of a black sheep or a scapegoat in my narcissistic family unit. Quite the opposite, I was the golden child of my narcissistic mother and the scapegoat of my father. However, I never chose to speak the truth because I had no options whatsoever, which is also the reason why I want to validate those who were not able to speak the truth. This does not mean you were weak or you were liars. It simply means that you responded differently to the same environment, which is totally okay. Then later, when I saw through the dysfunction, when I left that narcissistic family and I distanced myself from those toxic people, I was able to recognize that there's something deeply wrong with them. That is when I chose to speak the truth, and that is when I got a lot of backlash. When I started to talk about my family, I began with my narcissistic father, with whom I had already gone full no contact. So he had no way to tell me what he was feeling or express that rage whatsoever. I had blocked him already. But then I went on to talk about my mother. I was a little hesitant though. Why? Because of the guilt that I was feeling. She is a covert narcissist, so you can imagine the trauma bonding and cognitive dissonance. It took me immense strength and courage to finally open up about my covertly narcissistic mother. And when I finally did, there goes on the drama. She began to guilt trip me through pretending to be a martyr. How could I do that to my own mother? How bad of a son I am. And she started crying, and all that act had zero impact on me. Yes, I was moved a little bit, but then I stayed firm in my resolve because I knew I was not smear campaigning. I was not telling lies. I was telling my story, and I had to share it with all those who could feel one with it, who could resonate with my words. I had to put it out there to help a lot of souls, to tell them that they're not alone, they're not crazy, and most importantly, they're not bad people. When her guilt tripping did not work on me, finally she resorted to turning all my allies against me. Well, those allies were not actually allies. I just had a false idea that they would understand what was going on. But unfortunately, that did not happen to be the case. I lost all my extended family for good. For good, I'm happy to have that happen. But I lost them because of what was said about me, what was spread about me, what was conspired against me, and so on. And that's what they do. When they cannot control you directly, they control how other people see you so that your reputation is destroyed, your job is destroyed, you lose it, your career is destroyed, and nobody wants to do anything with you. And that's the reason why none of my relatives call me at this point. All in all, narcissists try their level best to destroy truth tellers, but they do not always succeed. For truth tellers were not born to be destroyed, they were born to break the chains, to create new futures for those who will come from them. Truth tellers were born to annihilate narcissists. And that's what I will leave you with today. I'll talk to you in the next one. Until then, as always, let the healing begin and continue.